Good evening. Good evening. We're not on. Are we on?
We're on. Yep.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Waterville City Council to order for Monday, November 27th, 2023. First order of business is the prayer, and I'd ask Councilmember John Rozek to lead us in the prayer, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Loving God, as we come together tonight for the city of Waterville, we pause to ask you to be with us and guide our way. May your spirit of peace surround all we say and do this evening. We ask for your strength to do what is best for the good of Waterville. Lord God, as servants of your people, we pray that you grant us a share of your wisdom. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, and I ask Councilmember Todd Borowski to lead us in the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and I ask the clerk to proceed with roll call.
Mr. Borowski?
Here.
Mr. Rozek?
Here.
Mr. Bruno?
Here.
Mayor Pedro?
Here.
Mrs. Duncan?
Here.
Mrs. Bruno? Here. Mr. Fry?
Here.
Thank you. We all have received a copy of the minutes from our meeting from November the 13th. If you had a chance to review them, I need a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
So moved, Todd Borowski. Need a second. Second, Councilmember Anthony Bruno. Any discussion? I have one, please. On the approval of the minutes, Mr. Fry moved to approve the minutes of October 23rd, 2023, regular council meeting. Mr. Borowski seconded the motion, which passed by a voice vote. Please note that I abstained. If it could be added to the minutes, please. I was not at that meeting. Okay, with that an adjustment, then all those in favor of accepting the minutes from November the 13th, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose. All right, thank you. Next is citizens' comments, and I have two. And I would ask Terry Masucci to please go to the microphone. Call your name, address, phone number, what size shoes you wear, you know, whatever you want to do. Go ahead.
Terry Masucci, 1101 Waterville, Monclova Road, Waterville, 43566. 6.5. I wanted to announce a new scavenger hunt that's going to take place in the city of Waterville. It's going to be called The Rescue of Taylor Swift. It is going to be an adult-based game over 21 because there are a couple places that are adults, but doesn't mean kids can't join in on it as well, because there'll be a lot of different places that kids will be going into. So what is going to happen, the premise of the story is that Taylor Swift has been kidnapped from a law firm out in Perrysburg, and there will be a there will be a life-size Taylor Swift being held captive at a business here in Waterville. So there'll be 11 of posters like this, and there'll be a clue. So you'll follow the clues just like any scavenger hunt. You'll find the clue, and eventually you'll find the place that she's being held captive. There's lots of great prizes. We are planning to have a live drawing at Sean's on December 16th at 4 o'clock. 4:30 it would start. So I'm hoping everybody can join in, have fun, play the game, and win some good stuff. Thanks.
Terry, if you would, do we expect many folks from the Kansas City Chiefs to be in our community during this time?
Maybe.
No.
So the form to fill out, we can get at the library or online?
Yes, I'm going to try to get it uploaded online, maybe leave some at the city. I probably drop some off at certain businesses as well. So they'll be easy enough to find. And I will post, and it's going to start December 1st. I will post it on various social media sites that it's happening from December 1st to the 15th with the drawings on the 16th. All right, any other questions?
What kind
Just
of
so
price?
nobody's disappointed, I assume Taylor Swift won't be there at the
Oh,
at
she
the end.
might be.
She'll be at the drawing
Oh, okay.
after she's been rescued.
She'll
The
be at
cardboard cutout. To make that clear. Thanks.
Thank you to your committee, you and Mary Duncan. I know others are helping out, so thank you very much. Lots of fun activities in Waterville. Next, I have the pleasure of bringing up two of our great citizens, Wendy and Kaylee Gray, who have been instrumental in helping us celebrate our Christmas season here in Waterville. I know it started a couple years ago. It gets better and better each year, and they've got a report for us, so please state your name and address, please.
Wendy Gray, 730 Village Parkway, Waterville, Ohio.
Kaylee Gray, 730 Village Parkway, Waterville, Ohio.
Good.
Fire away.
Okay. So just a reminder that this Saturday, December 2nd, is our Waterville Christmas event. We're super excited about it. We've had a huge amount of volunteers that have come out. They've helped make the event possible. Kaylee's going to tell you a few of the things that are going to be there that night.
We'll have like the green screen photo booth like we did last year, and then visit with Santa at Santa's workshop. There's going to be different live music, food trucks, and kids crafts at a couple different places as well.
And we'll also have a horse and wagon. This year, the event is actually taking place right down here on 2nd Street, and the reason that we've done that is because it's obviously getting very cold outside, and last year, up on 3rd, a lot of the buildings were smaller, so we thought, well, this year we can use Zion Church. They're our biggest facility. We're really utilizing them in a lot of ways. We have, of course, this building right here. We also have Chamber, and we have the Deluxe Frame Shop. So all of these buildings are going to be housing different activities that are going to be going on. And of course, we'll have food trucks and things like that. The most important thing is to know that the event, other than the food trucks and the local bakers that will be there, everything else is free. So we want as many families and children to come out and be a part of it because it's just a special time. And what a great way to bring people and community together than just a really wonderful evening of Christmas celebration. So we are having one final, we had hoped we wouldn't, we're having one final workshop, and it is this Wednesday, like at 6 p.m., just to do a run through, make sure everything is in place. I currently have had 4 artificial trees that have been dropped off at my shop that I am trying to get ribboned and decorated so we can stake them out at Parker Square, which that was another reason for utilizing this area, because Parker Square, we want to start showing it off, and all of the different events that we can have out there on the square is really awesome. So the mini Wonderland is coming along, and you'll see more added on before Saturday. So spread the word. We hope to see you guys. 5:45 is the start time at Zion Lutheran Church, and that's when announcements, a couple of songs will be sung there, Santa arrives, and then all the festivities begin. And we will light up 2nd Street. So there's lots that's hidden out there that you do not see. So we're excited.
Council, questions or comments?
Thank you so much.
I just have one. John, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Thanks, Mayor.
Just was one of those moments this morning at 6:45. I was on my way to work, and Fred Lefevre was off today, but Kevin Mullen was on, and somehow he started talking about Waterville. Just mentioned Waterville. So I quickly called him, and he put me on hold, and I was able to promote the event. And so I'm going to try and get on Scott's show with you. We're going to talk offline.
Okay.
And get some more publicity, because it is a great event, and not many cities, I think, have the dedicated volunteers that we have in front of us. And there are others, I know, but here's the 2 chief elves, if you will.
working around the clock. One other thing really quick I do want to mention that we added this year. We are up on 3rd Street, the pine tree that we used to light. It's not lit. Instead, we are making it the mitten, hat, and scarf tree. So basically, you know, if you need one, take one, have a spare to share, spread the warmth. So we're just asking people to donate new hats, scarves, and mittens, and we'll just put them in bags and we'll tie them on the tree, add the sign. And it could be something as simple as you are down in town and you forgot your gloves and it's freezing cold, so you just pick one off the tree. So it's just kind of to help people out, and so think about donating to that as well.
And then lastly, I think you said it, but Santa Claus is going to be here. And where's he going to be again, please?
He's gonna be down at Deluxe Frame Shop.
Deluxe Frame Shop, okay. That's his headquarters. Okay, good.
Yes, and Mrs. Claus will be there as well. And what's really cool is, because if you've ever been in the Deluxe Frame Shop, when you walk in, he has an entire back workroom that is beautiful with a huge table. So all the elves are gonna be there working in Santa's workroom. It's already getting decorated. And then once you go into the front part, you'll be able to see Santa and Mrs. Claus up in the front of the shop, and then exit out and you can go across the street to Parker Square.
And lastly, I think you encourage other businesses to get involved. I noticed down at the Farnsworth Cocktail Lounge that there's a huge snowman. I mean, huge.
It is, it's awesome, yes.
So that's great. I know some other businesses are in the process of doing it. So
Yes.
thank you very, very much. And we'll have a great time on
I think
Saturday.
so too. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know you have one other item.
Yep, I do.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Nope, we'll sit for this.
So the other thing is, when last Sunday, when we were out, the volunteers, and we were decorating, I was carrying a tree and a wood stand that one of the volunteers had made, and did not see it, and I fell on an uneven sidewalk and kind of broke up my knee and fell on my core, and I did go get checked out because it wasn't very pleasant. So I guess my big thing is, it's not the first time that anybody has fallen on the city sidewalks. I know of others that have, and I just think that it's super important that the city sidewalks are taken care of, because as a resident of Waterville and a business owner, it is my responsibility to have to fix the sidewalks, you know, and if I don't fix them, then I would get a letter or be taxed or whatever. Because I remember years ago, it happened where people were getting letters, hey, you know, it's your home, you need to fix the sidewalks. So I'm really urging and pushing you guys to fix the city sidewalks. If it is not on the city property, then address it with the business owner or homeowner to get them fixed, because sadly there are people out there that will not just write it off, you know, and say, you know, it's okay, you don't have to pay my bill or whatever, but because there's gonna be people that are gonna come after the city because they got injured, and I don't wanna see that happen to anybody else. So please just look into it. I know that Terry and I had talked about before the event, getting basically glow-in-the-dark duct tape, yellow, whatever color, and put it across all of the bad spots, because we're gonna have families walking. And I'd rather them see that than to not see it at all. So that would be, I just really want that to be taken seriously, because I don't want the city to have a lawsuit because people are falling down and getting injured. I don't want to see that happen. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. You know, just to tie into that, I was going to mention it later, but just today I was on the phone with ODOT, Ohio Department of Transportation, District 2. We were talking about roads and whatnot, and surprisingly, I got to get back with Patrick McCauley, but there are some safety grant dollars available, and believe it or not, sidewalks could be part of that. So we're going to look into that, and thank you for bringing that to our
Yeah,
attention.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's just the two citizens I had for comments. All righty, we'll move on to staff reports, and I would start with our administrator, John.
Thank you, Mayor. Council has a copy of my report, and I'd also like to add that the city is fortunate enough, we're receiving a $392,000 grant, the 2023 Transportation Alternatives Grant. So that is for the extension of the Anthony Wayne Trail shared use path from Canal Road to Dutch Road. Construction is scheduled to start for that in 2027, and that's in the 5-year capital. Next year, We will be extending the shared use path from Mechanic to Canal Road on the trail, and then this project will extend it from Canal to Dutch Road and can tie into the work that the county is doing on Dutch Road. So hopefully, I guess our last leg would be to connect the city shared use paths with township or county paths where we could have Dutch Road connect with Waterville, Monclover Road.
Do we have a match? Is there a portion of that?
It's an 80-20 grant,
okay.
so 80% is the grant, and then we match 20% of that.
Okay, thank you.
If anyone has any questions on my report?
Start with Todd.
So John, the only thing I have is I notice you work with the Public Works Director in regards to the sidewalks. Again, on Second and South, they missed fixing they fixed the sidewalks, but they didn't backfill it with dirt.
Yeah, they still have some restoration work to do. Other than the restoration work of the, the areas around the new sidewalks, that's the only thing that's left.
Okay.
So
okay. So you guys already knew about that?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. And that is it. Oh, I did actually have a question in regards to the zoning issues. Looks like you issued some zoning permits for signs and sheds. Is that through the city, or is it at like a HOA that would be involved in putting up a shed?
No, it's individual property owners, and then they should check with their homeowners association if they're
okay.
permitted or not.
Okay, okay. Awesome, thanks.
Okay.
John Rozick.
Nope, thanks, Mayor, nothing. Thank you, John.
Anthony.
No questions.
Mary Duncan.
Nothing for John?
Barb.
No, thank you.
Rod Fry.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Next, our Law Director.
No report tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. And our Finance Director.
Okay, I have a couple things to go over. First is the finance reports for October, and then secondly, we'll go over the third quarter budget report. Okay. So on the finance committee report, on the finance reports for October, page 5 provides a good comparison to fund balances for all the for total funds. In October of 23 compared to September of 23, we went down 706,501.94. Okay, and the reason for that is we're spending money on projects. Okay, so our fund balances have declined as we do so. A little bit more elaboration on that. In October of 23, we had $1,146,000 of revenues, and in September, we had $912,336 of revenues. On the expenditure side, in October, $1,852,000 in expenditures, and in September of 23, $1,133,830. So that's driving the fund balances going down, okay? And some of those more significant revenues that we received in September were Waterville Township fire contract. We get that twice a year. An Ohio EMS grant, and Green Meadows, the second payment for the farm rent. Some of the expenditures, we've paid quite a few of the project expenditures. Geddes Paving, Jim Palmer Excavating for Canal Road, water line, Allied Paving for Memorial Park Drive and park improvements. So we spent a lot of money in October, okay? Compared to October of 22, we're $1,451,419 up. Compared to December of 22, we're $1,816,166 up from those dates. Any questions on the finance report itself?
Mark, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of money on the projects, but we have grants coming in, and is that already accounted for in that expenditures?
We haven't received all of our grant money. Okay, so the grant money will come in, show up as revenues. It reimburses project expenditures, so oftentimes those revenues will come in later.
Exactly, okay.
Okay.
And that's typically a lot of times after the project is done,
Yeah.
correct? Yep.
Absolutely,
Okay,
yeah.
great, thank you.
Any other questions on the finance report? Okay. I'll go to the reader report, page 18. In November, we've covered the October report at the last meeting. In November, we received $382,616. That is down from November of 22 by $17,578. But by year to date, we're up by 546,261. So 12.83% above last year. So we're still doing great. We had a little bit slower of a November, and it's always going to kind of, at this time of year, you're just not going to see the volume as you would April, May time frame. So. And of that, of the income tax revenues year to date, I know this question has come up, 60.71% of that is from withholdings, okay? So our businesses are providing those withholding payments on people's employment, and that's a significant portion of our income tax revenues. Any questions on the reader report? Okay.
Council? All right, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go on. I'm going to go on to the third quarter budget report, and this covers the period of 1/1 through 9/30, and we have had two amendments. One on June 26th and one on September 11th. And the purpose of the budget report is to compare actual revenues and expenditures to what we've budgeted, along with the amendments that we've made. So you can see we have a memo here that really highlights significant line items. So overall, the general fund's at 83.68%. Municipal real estate taxes, 99%. We've received both settlements for the real estate taxes. Municipal income taxes are at 86 and 95% of the budget. Net profit was the other piece of that. Zoning permits are at 70%. Local government revenues, 73% from the county, and from the state they're at 83%. Property tax reimbursements mirror real estate taxes. Charges for services are at 52%. Rescue services, EMS, is at 97%. Investment earnings are at 99%, so we will exceed the budget as it is currently. Miscellaneous rental revenues, kind of a catch-all, various refunds, et cetera, go into that account. And rental revenues, excuse me. 56% of the budget, and that includes the farmland. Miscellaneous revenues refunds are at 32%, and that's where I meant that miscellaneous revenues. Monthly rescue fees are at 77%. Without going through all the detail of this, okay, there is it's on, bear with me. It is on page 29. It breaks down all of your funds, revenues, and expenditures, budget to actual. So it's a good tool to really get a quick summary, if you will. I'll let you look at that for a minute. And you've got the report, so if you have any questions on that, but I will cover a little bit more. Overall total expenditures for all funds as of September 30th were $8,619,969 at 57% of the budget, and that's $2,522,669 less than the revenues received. So we've received more revenues regardless through the year. So that summary sheet is on page 29. We break down the general fund operating and personnel expenses on page 30. And then also just, we also always talk about the general fund balance. At the end of September, it's $5,833,320, and that's on page 28. We compare that to the average 2 to 3 months of expenditures for the general fund, and we're way above that. So that's really a good note for our potential future investors. Okay. Any questions?
Council?
I would just make a comment, I guess, in very general terms. I think this is a reflection of good budgeting. We've underestimated revenue and overestimated expenses, and we're in good shape on both ends.
Typically, we're usually within 10 to 12 million of estimated revenues and expenditures. Varies a little bit each year, but since I've been here, and John's the focal point on that. Anyway, so that's really a good trend. One of the things we look at for compliance purposes, we make sure that all of our estimated revenues are with what we have available between fund balance and what we realistically think are going to come in the given year. Okay, so the second part of that is to make sure your appropriations are within that total available, and then your expenditures are within total appropriations. So it really solidifies and guarantees you're not going to overspend.
Yeah, so good. Okay. Thank you, Mark and John.
Thank you. Anyone else, council? I'll just echo what John Rosick said, that good fiscal management by the administration, and certainly council helping to guide that. The other thing is, we don't know what the future predicts, so we're obviously in the midst of our budget for next year, so we're going to be following similar guidelines going forward. And lastly, I think I've said this before, but it's worth repeating. As far as I know, the city of Waterville is one of the few cities in the greater Toledo area that takes time on a capital planning to pre-fund expenses that are major items, like, for an example, the street sweeper, which we're going to buy. We started saving for that years ago. So it's good management, good skill, and thank you for the team. And then obviously the state of Ohio recognizes that with a clean bill of health with our audit report. So thank you.
And just to reassure or kind of reinforce that, from my auditing experience over the years, schools had to have a 5-year budget. Municipalities are not required, but we do it. So what a great control that we have over our long-term cash flow and spending habits. So.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, next.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Next, our treasurer.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. We have reconciled the accounts through October. I won't go into a lot of detail because, as Mark mentioned, the main thing is we've spent about $900,000 in October on paving projects. So it's not too hard to understand that our balances are going to go down when we make those payments. Very typical of this time of the year, so don't see any problem with that. Actually, if you look, you can see our general fund actually is continuing to go up. So it's really been in just the capital fund, capital improvement projects where we took the hit as we anticipated. So that's really all I have on the finance report, unless anybody has any questions.
Council? All right, thank you, Steve.
Then the second thing I have is the audit report.
Yes, go ahead.
The boring audit report. And as I always say, boring is good when it comes to audit reports. Okay? So I've basically done what we do every year and just kind of summarize that audit report for everybody. This is actually for 2022 is what this audit report is for. The state auditor just released our report November 14th. So they were just holding on to the report. I think they had other things that they were dealing with. They're usually not too concerned about Waterville because we usually are pretty clean. So there's no concern about it waiting that long. The one thing I will tell everybody is the report's over 100 pages long. And if you really want to read it, okay, www.ohioauditor.gov. All right, it's got every report, every audit report for the last I don't know how many years. But anybody is welcome to go on and read to your heart's content in terms of the City of Waterville audit report. A couple of things I just like to highlight. The main thing is it's a clean opinion, and so we have a clean opinion. The other thing they do is they test some internal controls of the city, as they do in any city. And in their report, you'll see on my point number 2, they did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that they considered material weaknesses. They also test certain transactions to make sure we're in compliance with the law. Their report stated that the results of our test disclosed no instances of noncompliance, so there were no problems with that. We had no management letter comments. As I've said before, I don't mind management letter comments because it helps us do things better, but they had no management letter comments. If you do go online and decide to look at the audit report, the one thing I would tell you to look at is pages 5 through 18. Okay? That's where they talk about management's discussion and analysis of the year. All right? The other stuff you can really get mired in all the numbers and everything, but that really does a good job of summarizing what happened during the year. So I would encourage people to take the time to kind of take a look at that. The sixth thing I have is I always like to use this opportunity to kind of talk about where our debt is, and I've got that, attached that page to the report. Won't go into a lot of detail, but what I like to show here is our trends in our debt. And you can see for the most part, they're going down, which is a good trend. The only time they really didn't go down is when in 2021, when we bought the ladder truck and the fire truck, which we felt were very needed for the community. So, but again, we got those at some great interest rates at that point in time. So again, I just wanted to show that we are on a good trend with our debt. General fund balance, as we mentioned, is very important for the investment community and to help us get those really great rates on our debt. And as you can see, our general fund balance over the last 5 years has just continued to go up. So again, just very good fiscal management. So the clean opinion, the clean audit, our general fund continued to go up. Again, kudos to Mark, John, all of administration. Job very well done. So with that, that's the end of the audit report, unless anybody has any questions.
Mark?
So Steve, do they give you any type of rating? Like, are we a rating after the audit, or?
No, the audit report does not give any kind of a rating. They just basically say, we feel that these financial statements are materially correct. They always say materially correct.
Awesome.
Doesn't mean they're perfect, means they are materially correct.
Very nice. All right, thank you.
Steve, before you go, Mark?
I just want to say that one of the reasons that we get these clean audit reports is because we have a staff that is very diligent, Jenny Malazewski and Shelley McCann. We have a new person at the front desk, so she's learning, and John. So it's a team effort that gets us to this point.
Yep.
Great.
Appreciate
Good.
everybody's help.
Good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Next up is our police chief, Joe Valvano.
Evening, Mayor and Council. You all have a copy of my report. A couple things to add. Recently, we've been seeing an uptick in phone scams. in the Anthony Wayne area. One particular scam that keeps occurring is the caller asks for certain types of gift cards and PIN numbers that go along with that. Another one is that a family member is in need and they need money quickly. So we just recently had one in Monclova. It emptied their savings, retired teacher. Unfortunately, the state does have a victims advocate fund that they can tap into, hopefully. But Lucas County, I believe, took that report. November 14th was Police and Pancakes at Browning Masonic. We had a great turnout. Spoke with residents we normally don't get to see too often. It was a fun time, and thanks to the Waterville Fire Department and staff for taking time out of their day to join us. Drug take back was a little slow this year. 3 pounds, 6 ounces was collected, but we did get 109 pounds turned in for the year with the lobby container. That's all I have.
Council?
I just had one question. Joe, and I didn't get a chance to look it up. 1400 block of Parade Boulevard seems to be popping up here a lot. Where is that? Is that the apartments?
It's the Colony.
Oh, it's Colony.
And the 1400 block extends to Story Point.
Okay, so it's that whole area.
The apartment complex,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Council? Go ahead.
So Joe, I just have food for thought. I know when I was traveling, I had saw the mile per hour on the pavement, like it was, as you're driving, you're looking down and you see 25 mile per hour on the street. And I know we have quite a few areas, River Road, one of them, where it goes from, 45 to 35 to 25. Just the thought that I know might be pretty cheap to potentially do something like that, where we could just put a big 25 mile per hour right when it changes, or 35. So, I don't know, just the thought.
We can talk about that at the next staff meeting with Kenny.
Okay, okay.
Put it on the street, you mean?
On the street as you're driving, because when you're driving, you see it, 25 miles per hour. I mean, it was, and it didn't look bad when I was in California, so, yeah.
Anybody else? I have one, but anybody else? Joe, on page 3, second to last comment, October 30th, officer took a report of a vehicle passing a stopped school bus on Prey. What's the protocol? What happens? You don't see it, but you heard about it.
Well, the school buses now have cameras on them. We review the video, school sends them to us, school resource officer. We take a look at it, and if we can run the plate on the vehicle, we contact the owner, find out who the driver is. That's another task, and then we usually cite them.
Cite them, okay.
Yep.
All right. And then lastly, I want to recognize and compliment the police department. In the month of October, you many of them wore pink hats or ribbons to recognize folks with cancer, so thanks for doing that.
You're welcome.
Alrighty. Next up is our fire chief.
Thanks, Joe.
Evening, Mayor and Council. You have a copy of my report. I have 2 things to add. We are doing a toy drive. The local union has picked up where the association has always left off and taking a toy drive up. So if anyone out there wants to drop a toy off during normal business hours, we're taking toys. They will also have a bin out front of a lighted fire truck at the Light Up Waterville event. So if people want to bring a toy and drop it in the box, it will be there at the Light Up Waterville event for Toys for Tots. The second one is I want to point out that there will be a change in our reporting for starting next month. Our software company was purchased by another software company, so we changed mid-month. So next month you're going to get like double the packet, because you're going to get partial month from the old software and a partial month from the new one. The new software contains all the same information, but it does print it in a different format. So you're going to see a partially different report for November, and then in December you'll see an all-new report. Same information, different layout. So I wanted to give you a heads up. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Council, questions for Chief?
Doug, I have something.
Sure.
So the average time it takes you guys from the call to scene, I think that this can't be right, because you guys are on it. This Haas report, is it saying 12.12?
Yeah, so you gotta take something into account with that.
Okay.
If you look at the Haas report, hang on, let me go to it so I can, if you look, you have year-to-date and you have lifetime
I saw
underneath
that.
there. So 12.7, the only two rigs that have that on there is the engine and the tower. So example today, we were on the structure fire with Maumee. Maumee is like, it was like a 13-minute response by the time we
100%.
drove all the way to West John Street to help them. So yeah, it looks like those times are getting a little longer, but the fire trucks are going a little bit further. We helped Perrysburg the other day across the river down Roachton. So I mean, we're starting to get calls. I mean, Lake Township called us. We're starting to go a lot of different places. So we're going a lot further. So you got to kind of keep that in mind.
Makes sense.
But if you look, where you make that up is your year-to-date and your lifetime, because we do get a lot of responses and the city brings that average down. So if you look at that, I mean, you got 7 minutes total, and that's including our long responses. So.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Thank you, Doug. Next, our Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mayor. You have a copy of my report. I'm just going to run down a few items, updates on the projects. The Anthony Wayne intersection project has finally come to completion after, I think it's been, what, John, a year and a half now? Yeah, so that's a good thing. River Road Pump Station, we had a bid opening on that, and the work is scheduled over the winter months, so that project will be starting up. Canal Road project, that's to be completed, what I understand is this Thursday, weather permitting, so that one will be all wrapped up. They may have to come back and do some restoration, but other than that, it'll be completed. Generator project at the Public Works facility, we're waiting on a schedule for the contractor, so I've been in contact with him and he's supposed to get back to me pretty soon. The leaf collection program, in about 2 weeks, I'm thinking that we should be getting close to the end of this. And you have a list of all the totals in my report, up to, I think it was 1120. And you look further into the report, you see we had a resident that was interested in trying the leaf machine out. He lasted about 45 seconds.
My phone was ringing. I had to get out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. The only other thing I got is that we'll be, this week, the rest of the week, we'll be, Public Works employees will be finishing off the Christmas tree decoration lights in the downtown area.
Good.
And that's it.
Council, questions? Todd?
Me again, of
Go ahead.
course. So, Kenny, I saw on here it said the leaf removal program ended November 22nd, but you're extending it a couple weeks?
Yeah, we always do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if somebody has like a lot of leaves, they can always call the city, correct?
Yeah, if they call here or up at Public Works, to keep a
Okay.
list.
Okay,
So we
awesome.
know.
And then secondly, do you guys have a GIS program that you guys are working with yet or no?
With what, I'm sorry?
A GIS?
Yes, we are looking into that.
You are looking into that?
And it's
Okay.
coming very soon.
Oh, so it's already in the works?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. I think it's just good product knowledge
Well,
transfer, you know?
In the water side and sewer side, it's going to be mandated by EPA anyway.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
Is that
Thanks.
EPA mandated coming up in 24, 25? Do you know, I know it's coming,
I don't think they got a solid date yet, but it's coming in the next few years, I think.
so get ready for it.
Yeah.
John Rosing.
Nothing. Thank you, Mayor.
Anthony? Barry?
Nothing.
Barb? I just have two kind of leafy question. Todd answered part of it. So you will go back and get citizens that get missed or their trees, leaves just come down, so thank you for that. Bigger though, going forward, because there are some white flakes out there today. All set for the snow plowing, any issues we gotta get ready for?
Yeah, I think they're talking maybe 1/8 of an inch with the storm tomorrow night. All we have to do is pull the boxes off, because an event like that, we would only use salt anyway.
Okay.
The pavement's still pretty warm, so I don't think it's gonna cause it. We just have to put the boxes back on the truck and start picking up leaves again.
Good. And then, like I said earlier, when one of our citizens was up talking, that I talked to ODOT today on another matter, but we drifted into lots of conversations, and I gotta get back to them, but there is some safety, some sidewalk grant dollars that are relatively new, so I wanna get with John and you, Kenny, once I get more facts, and maybe there's some additional funding going forward. So that's all I have.
Okay. One other comment regarding the Wendy. I do have a contractor coming in to do some mud jacking in the downtown area prior
Okay.
to the December 2nd event.
Good,
So.
good. All right, thank you. All right, that concludes our staff reports. Communication from council members, and Todd, don't go yet, because I'm going the other way. Ron Fry?
The only thing I want to mention, just remind council of the special cemetery district meeting, joint meeting that we're gonna need to have on December 11th at 5:30. So we'll have that before our council meeting. We need to address the, 2 of the trustee
Okay.
seats that are gonna.
That'll be here. in
That'll
this-
be here at 5:30, so, if somebody can't be here, please let me know. I just wanna make sure that we have a quorum.
So for the benefit of our audience and those on the tube, this is the cemetery district, which includes White House, Waterville Township, and the city of Waterville. And Rod has been our representative on that for a number of years, was very instrumental in getting it off the ground, and your efforts and your dedication to that will certainly be recognized and remembered going forward. So that's one of the reasons why we gotta have that meeting at 5:30 here in the council chambers.
Yeah, we just need to have it before the end of the year so we can keep operating, because they wouldn't be able to issue checks, pay our people, pay vendors if we didn't do it. So,
All right, thank
And
you.
we do have to have a quorum of all 3 entities
right.
at that night. White House Council, Township Trustees,
Do you have a sense of,
our council.
on
I think
close-
we're good.
We're good, okay, all right,
And I'll be circling back with Kim and Rebecca
okay,
probably tomorrow.
excellent. Next, unless there's anything else,
I'm done.
Barb?
One quick thing, on behalf of Rob Allen, he asked me to bring this forward. He talked to Chief Myers about this issue. He'd be here, but he's at Rotary tonight. So like you had alluded earlier about Wendy Gray, what makes Waterville great is its citizenry and when individuals step up to do great things. And Rob has a great idea. He wants to bring back years past when the fire department used to be at Conrad Park. They used to put in a big skating rink in the back. I don't recall that, but the long timers do. And, pardon me? Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was a really great event, really memorable. And so Rob would like to spearhead bringing that back. And Parks and Rec meet tomorrow night. So I thought, and he could be there tomorrow night and kind of talk about it and his idea and vision going forward. And obviously you'd have to partner with the fire department to flood it. And anyway, I think it's a fabulous idea. I just wanted to bring that forward. I guess council can talk about it, and well, Parks and Rec tomorrow, and then bring it back up at council.
Yeah, that'll be a quick discussion tomorrow, and then in 3 weeks, December
Yeah.
11th, if we're gonna move forward.
Yeah, I guess just a blessing of council then, right, to say, go with it, and
I guess I'm.
what do you need, and,
If you're looking for me, I'm in favor to get the more information, but yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Water?
I mean, he's gonna need some resources, right, so I don't know how much it costs to throw something like that together. But,
Can't be much.
no.
Maybe we can,
$500 I'm thinking, probably
you know,
less
maybe
than
we can have,
Visqueen and wood?
Yep.
And some hay
expensive than
barrels,
water.
you gotta have hay barrels, right? And maybe a burning pit would be cool.
oh, yeah,
Where
but
do you
let's
wanna
let
do
the, let the
Oh, well,
Parks and
next to
Recreation.
the sledding hill.
All right, come back,
proposing-
come back to us. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
okay.
that.
All right.
We'll have details coming. Thank you.
Mary?
I only have one thing. I know that Leal School does their live nativity scene. It was it was in the press as December 2nd, but it's actually December 9th from 7 to 8 p.m. And if you've never gone, it's really a cool thing. You stay in your car and you drive through, but the kids are all out singing, and there's animals, and at the end you make a donation, and it's for the kids project. So if you have a chance on December 9th, it's a really cool thing to go to. But I just wanted to clear up the date because I think everybody thinks it's December 2nd, which is the same night as our Waterville, extravaganza for Christmas. So it is actually December 9th. So thank
Good.
you.
Thank you. Anthony Bruno.
No reports tonight,
John Rozick.
Just a couple things, Mayor. Thank you. In working as much as I did, which was not nearly as much as Wendy Gray and her team, but anyway, the Parker Square, I think, could use more electrical availability. If we can do it at this point, I know you're working on the next phase, John, but in particular, I think at the overlook by the river, I don't think there's any electric available there. And towards the front of the park, at this point, extension cords have to be run from the other side of the sidewalk to the trees and everything. So if there's a way to put electrical resources throughout the park at different locations, I think we should look into that. Secondly, and again, with regard to the event that's coming up on Saturday, I would just encourage anybody that has a comment, if it's not a positive comment, don't say it. I learned this in first grade, if not earlier, and that is, if you have nothing good to say, then don't say it. If you have constructive criticism, and I know there's people here in our audience tonight that have worked very diligently on this project. So any constructive criticism, of course, just don't put it on Facebook, please. Just contact the city or any of the volunteers. What? Pardon? Oh, yes, volunteers are. There's a sign, thank you. Thanks, Lisa. There's volunteers are needed to actually operate the event on Saturday. And there's a sign up on, I think it's online or on Facebook, Lisa? Okay.
It's all over different, and I sent
I got it.
to the mayor.
And these are just time slots. This isn't like you would have to volunteer all 1 hour time slots. You can volunteer for more, certainly, but 1 hour would be appreciated. Last thing I have, Mayor, if I can continue.
Go right ahead.
I want to get back to Terry's. I've been, the Taylor Swift scavenger hunt, great idea. I have some grandchildren that are huge, huge Taylor Swift fans. So I am extending a public invitation to Taylor Swift to join the event on December 16th. If we can get that to her agent, I don't know what her tour is doing, but I'd like to see Taylor Swift here to join us in the
Draw the winners.
draw the winner. Right. That's a great idea. Thanks, Terry. That's all, Mayor.
You sure?
Yeah.
You're on a roll. Go ahead. Todd.
No, I just wanted to say, I had company come in town this weekend and friends and family, and got multiple compliments on how good Waterville looked and how good all of the volunteers have decorated. So, and people didn't, if they didn't say it to me, they said it to Sarah. Wow, I got in town last night at 11:30 at night, and I looked over and Parker Square looked beautiful. So just thanks to all of the volunteers, and going out there. So, yep.
All right, I just have a couple things. Reiterate thanks to all the volunteers helping out for December the 2nd. Come out and have fun. And then I attended the Finance Committee meeting. You heard some of the information presented already. We got a good team members there that keep us moving forward in a positive direction. And then a couple other things. Last week I was invited to a meeting with TARDA Tarda had I would call it a town hall meeting. They had lots of communities that they service, as well as very many community leaders down at the city center, convention center in downtown Toledo. And it was basically an update of what they've been doing over the last year and a half, 2 years. And if you remember, Tarda came to council a couple times, but the most recent occasion, the director and the manager, general manager, spoke about changing the tax structure. It actually decreased income tax for citizens in Waterville, but it also gave them a chance to expand their routes in the area. And if you remember, I got a chance to ride on the Flex bus. It's pretty smooth. And then lastly, they presented, it really should read differently, but I'll read it to you. Each community got one. Tarda, taking the place. Timothy Pedro, with great appreciation for your community leadership and investment in public transit and those who depend on it. Presented by the Tarda on November 15th, 2023. Like I said, this is really for Waterville City Council for taking leadership and then expressing the positive vibes in Waterville for that effort. And then I got some sponges here from Tarda. So that was a good event. Got to go on stage, got my picture taken. It was great. Alrighty. Next is some old business. No, excuse me, communications. Then we got some appointments for various commissions, boards, and committees. We are in the process of reviewing all the committees here in Waterville, and we have a few openings, but we're not ready to make those announcements tonight, with the exception that we need to move forward with a firefighter dependent fund board. The recommendation nomination is John Rosick for 1-year term, which will expire 12/31/24. And secondly, a firefighter dependent fund board for Anthony Bruno, a 1-year term which will expire 12/31/24. And then lastly, a firefighter dependents fund board for Steve Schultz for 1 year, expiring 12/31/24. I'm going to ask John Gokenauer to just further explain that
Thank
committee.
you, Board. The city's required to have a firefighters dependents fund board, so we have part-time firefighters, and if they were injured while on duty, then this board would meet and direct the state of Ohio to activate funds for their care. Historically, volunteer firefighters are volunteers, and they're not paid for what they do, and they don't carry insurance. In our case, we do have an insurance policy that does cover our part-time and volunteer firefighters if they were injured on the job. We actually have a separate policy for that, but there's also this board that is required to meet once a year.
And we will hopefully make those appointments tonight, and then this board with 2 other individuals will meet before the end of the year, and likely they'll meet on December the 11th after the cemetery district meeting and before our regular council meeting. So I need a motion to accept the proposed appointments.
So moved.
So moved, Mary Duncan, the second.
Second.
Second, Todd Borowski. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alrighty. Next is old business, and this is ordinance number 1223, an ordinance amending Chapter 172 of the Waterville Municipal Code of Ordinances regarding municipal income tax in compliance with the Ohio House Bill 33. The first reading was November 13th, 2023. The second reading is scheduled for tonight, and the third reading and legislative action is scheduled for December 11th, 2023. I'll ask John to make some comments on this.
Thank you, Mayor. This particular ordinance will bring the city into compliance with the new requirements under House Bill 33, and the Regional Income Tax Agency of Ohio has prepared updates to bring us into compliance with House Bill 33, and those were included with the ordinance, and they're underlined and indicated in red. At the last meeting, we went over the changes, which are mostly deal with net profits and things like that.
Okay. Questions, council? Okay, we'll take action on this on December the 11th. Next is the public hearing, Resolution 5123, a resolution approving and adopting the City of Waterville's fiscal year 2024 5-year capital planning program for all municipal funds and departments. John?
Thank you, Mayor. This is our public hearing for the 5-year capital program. The city's required to adopt a 5-year capital planning program, and we do that every year. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on anything in the 5-year capital plan. We incorporate the 5-year capital into the operating plan, operating budget, so the 2024 portion of the 5-year capital is incorporated into the final operating budget for council's final approval.
Comments from the audience? Okay, we will move on. Council, any comments?
I could raise a few points, or if you want to delay this until December 11th. Are you saying delay, Mary? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was one of the consensus earlier from
Yeah.
last time. So
That's good.
unless there's any specific question, we will take this up on December the 11th.
All right.
And
Mary?
technically, this doesn't have to be approved until February or March. So the new incoming councilman, I'm sure, will have thoughts and additions and considerations. So,
Okay, we will move on. Now, a new business, Resolution 5223, a resolution authorizing the advance of cash funds from the General Fund 100 to the Fire Levy Fund 265. John, would you explain that?
Thank you, Mayor. The resolution would authorize an advance from the general fund to the fire levy fund of $200,000, and that's to cover the payroll costs through the end of the year. We discussed this at the Finance Committee meeting, and this is kind of a reflection of 2023 was the first real year where we're fully staffed, and you know, our total expenses of getting to be a predominantly full-time fire department are coming due, I guess you could say. You're changing from a part-time staff to a full-time staff. You know, a typical 40-hour a week, 280-hour per year schedule to a 53-hour, 2,756-hour schedule, 24 hours on, 48 hours off, things like that. So this is an advance, so that would be paid back by the end of 2024 from the fire fund to the general fund.
Okay. Council, any questions? All right, I need a motion.
I'll move to approve.
John Rozak moved. Needed a second.
Second.
Second, Anthony Bruno. Any more discussion? Roll call. Oh, excuse me, resolution. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is other information, unscheduled business. Council?
Everybody should come to Saturday's event.
Saturday's event?
Everybody, every person should be there.
Yeah. All right, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved,
Second.
Mary Duncan, second, Todd Borowski. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.